You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. LUANSHYA residents complain of poor roads in the CBD. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI says all political decisions he makes are well calculated. RPP President Leslie CHIKUSE to sue state over wrongful 16 days detention. In international news, Congo Brazzaville votes as NGUESSO seeks to extend his 37-year reign. In sports news, MICHO drafts in a French physical trainer. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
I'm Ambassador Frank BRAZZAVILLE. My 50 years journey in the media has now taken me to Camnet television. I'm very excited to join this amazing inner family. The importance of governance issues cannot be overemphasized. Every Tuesday at 20:45, I'll be going under the skin of a governance issue with my guest. I'll be interrogating the guest so that you can make an informed decision. I'll be coming on every Tuesday at 20:45 with Frank on Camnet.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. Following relentless complaints by Solwezi's Kimasala residents on the bad state of the Kimasala-Muzubula road, coupled with media coverage on the matter, a contractor has moved on site to begin rehabilitation works. Due to the bad state of the road, the residents resorted to using motorbikes while parking their most precious cars. But their cries may soon be over following the appearance of a contractor to begin rehabilitation works on the road. More in this report.
The main characteristic of the construction of roads is connecting people from different parts of the country in order to ensure their participation in all aspects of life. However, the lack of roads may mean the direct opposite. Roads open up more areas and stimulate economic and social development. While other places like Lusaka have seen a fair share of roads, this has not been the case here. The people of Muzabula compound have been having problems with the road, which becomes impassable during the rainy season. Camnet TV recently reported that due to the bad state of some roads, there has been no access to public transport. The people had resorted to using motorbikes as a mode of transportation from Kimasala compound to Muzabula junction.
So javura tunakuingia sana maonda. Nyotoka javura ke inakwenda sana ni mambo ya mkwako kutama. Ni fio chukua mvarunda. Mtengo kufuma pa pepa ya pa kastori kikuya pa mteva. Wakawa ni kwa ma 15 ku junction 20.
Authorities have heard the cries of the people as the contractor Kansanshi FQM roads was seen on site undertaking maintenance works. The road is being graded to make it passable, and of course it comes as a relief to motorists. Efforts to get authorities on the scope of the works being undertaken could not materialize by broadcast time. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
And in LUANSHYA district on the Copper Belt, some residents have complained over the poor state of the roads in the central business district. The residents claim that the roads have become so bad, such that when it rains, they become very muddy. According to them, the district has been neglected such that it looks like it has no leaders to help them. They have since asked the mayor of LUANSHYA and the district commissioner to see how best the roads can be worked on in the district.
This is the unprecedented infrastructure development. Somebody's been mentioned, saying, no, we've done a lot, we've done a lot. Where we are here is just in the middle of the town, LUANSHYA. And this is the road you are seeing. This is the road. This road is less than 50 meters from the small roundabout going towards the office of the DC. And you look at what the damage has been done to the LUANSHYA roads. Check properly. See what I'm talking about. There is no harmony in LUANSHYA. We have a problem. And the people, if people could start raising their fists, yes, this is true. They've brought now, they will bring now boats in town.
Okay, kuno LUANSHYA misewo tabawamya ku efficiency tabawamya ku misewo but badera na sipadi wamya era kudodekesha pa mpie ishingi bali kongole mpie ishingi sana lero bati misewo kuno ku LUANSHYA tabawamya so ndelira kufe ku kwatsibenga wamya imisebo ishi was imijomye to gatashire pitabwino.
Meanwhile, the Engineering Institute of Zambia, EIZ, will be undertaking a technical audit on certain roads under the L400 project in Lusaka to ascertain whether or not the roads were constructed within recommended standards. In 2013, government launched a road rehabilitation project in Lusaka dubbed L400, which was to see 400 kilometers of urban roads worked on in various townships and compounds at a cost of $348.8 million United States dollars. This follows concerns from members of the public regarding the perceived poor quality of the roads which has been constructed under the L400 project. EIZ Technical Committee Chairman Engineer MICHO says a committee of experts is being assembled to undertake an audit of the roads.
Of Zambia, in partnership with the Association of Consulting Engineers of Zambia, have equally raised concerns over the premature failure of some roads rehabilitated under the L400 project, even before the said roads are officially handed over to government. To this effect, EIZ and SCEZ is supporting the government of the Republic of Zambia to establish the cause of these premature failures and subsequently propose remedial measures to government as the main stakeholder in order to ascertain that the prescribed standards in design and construction have been achieved on a project. It is absolutely necessary that a technical audit is carried out. Therefore, the proposal to carry out the technical audit on selected roads under the L400 project will establish whether or not the works on these roads have been constructed in accordance with the prescribed standards. The audit will also provide answers to the main questions surrounding the underperformance of the road pavement of some of the completed roads under the project.
An electoral expert, McDonald Chipenzi, has called for calm in the former governing party, the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD. Mr. Chipenzi says the continued squabbles in the party are not helping matters, especially that MMD is known to be the mother of democracy. Commenting on attempted maneuvers by a team calling itself Operation Save MMD, being led by Water and Sanitation Minister Raphael Nakachinda to block the MMD convention using an injunction, Mr. Chipenzi says it is very sad that leaders in the former party have failed to iron out their differences all this long. Mr. Chipenzi says with only few months to the elections, the MMD should have by now consolidated itself ahead of the election if it is to effectively participate in it. Despite the injunction, the party went on to elect Dr. Neves Mumba as its party president after going through unopposed.
It's only 1 month to the adoption and nomination of candidates. So if MMD is still squabbling now, you wonder what time they will start mobilizing the candidates for nominations. And further, those who will be mobilized, they will have to take this matter with caution, because they may not know the legal status of the party when there are all these legal issues that may ensue after this convention. So it's a lesson to other political parties, and especially those that have ruled this country and may lose elections, that you have to put serious conflict management post-power period. It is clear that political parties in power don't have serious conflict resolution mechanism and strategies. And this is why you find UNIP is in a similar situation, MMD is in similar situation. And yet these are parties that ruled this country for decades. And you wonder how they were resolving issues when they were in power. Or it's the same thing of Mshanina Bwali, where people just dance and agree. But now when they are out of power, they realize that they don't need to agree into everything. And now, without a fully grown mechanism, they are in trouble. So let's learn a leaf from this, take a leaf from this, and ensure that those in power now, when they lose power, they should not get disoriented, as we have seen with the MMD and with the UNIP.
Republican Progressive Party leader Leslie Chikuse has alleged that his 16 days unlawful detention was necessitated by his intended plans to challenge President Edgar Lungu's eligibility ahead of the August 12th general election. Mr. Chikuse has since predicted more unlawful detentions against the opposition by state institutions such as the Zambia police. He says he will not be cowed in voicing out on issues of national importance. According to him, discussing or challenging President Lungu's eligibility is not a crime to warrant an arrest, saying as a head of state he is occupying a public office subject to scrutiny. Meanwhile, Mr. Chikuse has disclosed that he will sue the Zambia Police Service for wrongful detention as guided by the High Court. Mr. Chikuse, who was released from police cells last week, was speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka.
Know why the police and the Patriotic Front do not want to give political space to the Republican Progressive Party. When we are talking, they are saying RPP is a non-party. It is a non-entity. If we are a non-entity, why do you disturb us every time we want to talk to the people, we want to participate in politics? You want to disturb us, you want to detain us, you want to burn our properties. Why? Why should it be like that? Now, there are a lot of reasons which I got. The reasons why they detained me in this particular instance. Number one was that they were aware and they had gotten information that the Republican Progressive Party were going to move the court into interpreting the Constitution as to whether President Lungu is eligible to stand for the 2021 election.
The Industrial Development Corporation IDC has called for mass industrialization in the country. IDC Board Chairman for Finance and Administration David Kombe says the board wants to see an economy which is able to absorb as many unemployed Zambians as possible. Mr. Kombe made the remarks after leading other IDC board members on a tour of the Marco Polo Tiles plant in Lusaka West. He says the board is therefore impressed with the level of investment put in place at the company, saying IDC is elated to partner with the Marco Polo Tiles company for the development of the country. More in this report.
For a long time now, Zambia has largely depended on copper for exports, but the status quo is slowly changing. Now, the country has added another brand to its exports at a larger scale in the name of tiles being produced by Marco Polo. The company is exporting its tiles within Africa and beyond. In May last year, the institution decided to attract institutional investors to partner with it, and the Industrial Development Corporation came on board by acquiring 22.6% shareholding in the company. The IDC board, through its finance and administration chairman, David Kombe, has therefore found it prudent to visit the production premises of Marco Polo to appreciate the extent of investment, saying government is happy with the level of high investment at the institution.
One thing we recognized is that, you see, even when private sector have some initiatives and ideas, sometimes private sector on their own may not have the capacity to undertake those projects single-handedly. So one of the responsibilities for IDC is to steer development, industrialization. And that industrialization does not matter whether the project is being run by an institution or the project was started by a private sector. IDC will partner with anyone who has any brilliant ideas that are viable, and they will partner with those people because our goal is to industrialize the country. So this is one of those examples. We didn't have towel manufacturing in this country, and now we have one of the biggest actually in the region. So as IDC, we're very happy to be partners with Marco Polo, and we would encourage other people to look at this, and if they have got brilliant ideas, let them approach IDC. And if those ideas are viable, these institutional investors like IDC, NAPSA, Workers' Compensation, and Mukuba Pension, and all these institutional investors will be very keen to partner with them. Because we want to see massive industrialization in this country. That's the only way we're going to create jobs. We can't create jobs if we are running small entities. An entity employing 10, 15 people, how many jobs will you create? How many entities will you need to create massive jobs like that? So a plant like this one, with the planned expansion of phase 4, which will also add an extra 300 people, that will go a long way to reducing poverty amongst our people.
Marco Polo Towers acting board chairperson Priscilla Wembia says her company is happy with the investment relationship with its partners.
Today we have IDC visiting us, and we are very happy that they made a very good decision. They've seen for themselves, and to us that's a plus. The impact of Marco Polo on the Zambian market. We've flooded our towels on the Zambian market, and it's not because we coerced our clients. Our clients have seen the quality of the towels. They've seen the price they are paying. They don't have to go outside the country to buy the towels, no.
Marco Polo Towers acting company chief executive officer Roy Mwamba says the company will endeavor to grow with the community it operates in.
Today we have stakeholder number one who has come, who are the shareholders, the IDC board, who have come to visit us to appreciate the level of our operation. We also have another stakeholder who is the community in which we operate. Our belief at IDC is that we want to grow with the community, and as such, the benefit that we derive from our operations should also be felt by the community around.
Currently, the company has employed close to 1,000 local people at its plant. Kalan Muchima reporting for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Two suspected members of a gang have been murdered by a mob in Nakonde district after being suspected of killing a male adult identified as Daniel Mugala, aged 20, alleged to be a member of the same gang. This occurred between the 17th of March 2021 at midnight and the 20th of March 2021 around 10:54 in Chief Waitwika of Nakonde district. It is alleged that on the 17th of March 2021 at 17 hours, Daniel Mugala, now deceased, left home in the company of his friends identified as Jose, other names not known, Omari Lamazani, Ivan Sichwale, Michael Skaonga and Frank Ephraim Sichone, all of Chiyanga village, but never returned home, only for his body to be found floating in a stream with both his hands tied. According to the police, the body was discovered with multiple injuries, and his gang friends have accepted being behind his murder. Primary investigations have revealed that the suspects belong to a gang of 6, together with the deceased suspected to be behind a spate of crimes experienced in the area, among them attacks on innocent members of the public, stealing from them money and other valuables. Moving on in the news, Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampiongo has emphasized that the cyber security law is meant for all Zambians regardless of their political affiliation. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Kampiongo says many Zambians have been abusing the various social media platforms with impunity, hence the need to put an end to it. He says all those that are not in the habit of abusing others on the internet need not to worry about the cyber security bill and its consequences.
Citizens, including all of us who are party members of the Patriot Front, must understand that that law is meant to bring order and sanity in the way we manage the cyberspace. Because even among its members, some members have misused the cyberspace. They've used the social media platforms to engage in disciplinary conduct. So my message to them, and my message is still that they must understand that that law is for everyone, regardless of what political party you belong to. It's for everyone, regardless of what status you are in society. You break the law on the cyberspace, it will visit you.
We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have more interesting stories lined up for you.
You know, I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You've heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
We all know how important good nutrition is to grow up big and strong. Not only is cowbell milk enriched with 28 vitamins and minerals, it's also boosted by the 5 most important vitamins, which we call Vita-Rich.
It's got vitamin A for good eyesight development. It's got vitamin C to help fight infections. It's got vitamin D and calcium to help build strong bones and teeth. It's got vitamin E to help with body protection. And it's got vitamin K for general well-being and immunity.
For good health and vitality, only cowbell with Vita-Rich puts you on the fast track.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. National Democratic Congress NDC President CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI has urged his party members to trust his political judgments. Addressing the newly elected Kasama Province executive via telephone, Mr. KAMBWILI tells members that all political decisions he makes are well calculated. Mr. KAMBWILI has since urged NDC members to ignore statements being reported across some sections of the media that he is going to this political party or that, stating that such a decision will only be arrived at during the party's convention to be held soon. And NDC Acting Secretary General Paul Mbulo has encouraged the new Northern Province Executive to work hard for the party and Mr. KAMBWILI. The party has elected Mr. Harry Silwimba as its Northern Province Chairman.
And for you, the elected members, I want to say well done and God bless you. We are a party on our own. When we meet at the National Congress, we shall discuss the way forward for NDC going forward. And for me, I will respect the decision of the party. The Lord has been said about CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI going there, but when we meet at the National Convention, we shall decide our way forward, and I will respect the wishes of the party. Subject to say that as your leader, every political decision I make is well calculated. Every political decision I make is well calculated, and I hope you can support me, and I can also support you in our quest to make Zambia a better place to live in. Forget about the Akafumba faction. The Akafumbas have no legal basis for doing what they are doing. Mr. Batila, Umusha, Afano Tuewo Mukanwa. Mushungu Avati, last kicks of a dying horse. Congratulations and God bless you.
At this point in time, I would just declare that all these positions that have been given to you people are valid and ready to work for our president, Dr. CK, Dr. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI. And I thank you all in the name of Jesus Christ.
The opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, is saddened with the continued invasion of political party cadres in bus stations and markets. UPND National Youth Chairman Gilbert Liswaniso says this is contrary to President Edgar Lungu's directive to the Ministry of Local Government to remove all cadres from bus stations and markets, a trend which has continued to manifest itself. Mr. Liswaniso is sad to note that council workers are going for months without getting paid, and yet money meant for their salaries is going in the pockets of a few political cadres. He is further sad to note that now even bus drivers are not being spared from the wrath of political cadres who seem to have become more powerful, such that even the police are afraid of them.
For us as UPN, even in opposition, we have directed all the youths across the country, those even where we perceive to be a stronghold, you'll find that there's no UPN youth who is controlling a market or a bus station, because that is lawlessness. We have said that the local government do their job, because we know when local government gets money from the marketeers, from the bus stations, we know that that money at the end of the day to come back to the community. In terms of street rights, we know that they can give a drainage, they know that we can give in water. We understand the importance of the local government when they collect money. For us as UPND, we have said, don't even come to join UPND because you want to go and get a station, you want to run a station. That is lawlessness. We want the institution called the local government to collect that money. For us as a party, we have the channels how we are going to empower our own young people. And you are aware that most of the UPND young people, there's something which they are doing. They're already in the entrepreneurship. There's something which we are doing as a young person within UPN. What we are just lacking is that environment where government can empower each and everybody who is doing this small business within our community. That's what we are lacking. That's why we want our kind to open that door, policy that a young person can at least afford to get a small loan and strive and to make a business that tomorrow can even employ more people. That's what we are doing. So no youth is going to be allowed in a market, in a bus station. If you don't have any shop stand to go and do what? Don't go and disturb people, because already people in the stations, bus stations, markets, those are vulnerable people. Their capital is nothing. So why should you go and trouble them? All we need as a government of UPND is to go and give them empowerment, small loans for them that they can strive, they can at least give food on the table, taking their children to school, and to ensure that when they go to the clinic, they can find medicine and they afford to take their children to the hospital.
Meanwhile, over 100 Chibuluma Ward PF members in Kalulushi constituency have defected to the UPND. The defectors have cited the unfulfilled more money in their pockets as reasons behind their defection. The defectors are also citing lack of medicines in their clinics, but being asked to buy it for themselves as another reason for defection, saying a government ought to meet the needs of its people. The alleged defectors were received by Kalulushi constituency chairman John Shabubala and other constituency party officials.
¿Se cancela?
Kuachira mokula mandire kwacha abana pakuya kusukuru kulasendo tsana ora futhi kachiguruma patapa abasikani tapabe kurasho pana dokukurembera kwa kushita ora futhi nombaba aba watu wabikirepo 5 years tapali ofoti mwenye koko babombere abantu balamkula kutanda mino bungo bambi abana barefo yeto twingeka ambale kontukana nawe eto ndipo kulanda nchi bakandi ndipo mwaba imobuli babi lelo muri pano mala mkalamsia.
And moving on in the news, the Agriculture Consultative Forum, ACF, has officially launched a regional market campaign for small-scale farmers, whose objective is to provide the major clients, including the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock, with quality policy and services in the field of agriculture. Forum Executive Director CA Nawiko notes that in Zambia, agriculture is a dominant economic activity which contributes up to 35% to the country's GDP in the SADC region, although it still faces acute operational challenges which sit in the progression of farming communities. He says his organization, while working with key partners, carried a research aimed at improving the industry not only in the seed but chemical production in selected countries in the SADC regions, including Zambia, Malawi and Zimbabwe. He says SADC countries have developed good agriculture policies that promote agriculture transformation and participation of smallholder farms in the food value chain, but however there have been poor implementation, which he said must be addressed.
Build strong and farmer institutions to gain the bargaining power of our small-scale farmers. And also, there is also need to adopt a private-public partnerships approach to attract both domestic and foreign investments for market infrastructure and farmer support systems. And there is also need to accelerate economic reforms to promote sustainable markets and equitable access to natural resources such as land and water, and improve the resilience to climate change. There is also need to improve financial policies and services for affordable credit for small-scale farmers, which will lead to reducing poverty and drive sustainable jobs and rural development.
The Regional Psychosocial Support Initiative notes that during COVID-19 pandemic, when schools closed, the country witnessed a rise in teenage pregnancies due to the fact that most parents left the responsibility teaching children on sexuality issues to the teachers. Initiative Country Director Kelvin Goma says in a project they are implementing in Eastern Province on prevention of early and unintended pregnancies as well as child marriages, it was observed that parents were not empowered to speak to their children on the effects of vices that hinder their education. Mr. Ngoma tells Camnet News that both parents and teachers are critical stakeholders to create self-awareness among the children in order to safeguard their livelihoods and secure their future. He adds that addressing issues of early marriages requires the engagement of the entire community because male adults are equally contributing to the increase in the scourge.
We're also looking at how do people around them help these young people. Because these children, girls are not getting pregnant by themselves. And yes, while there are many cases of teenagers impregnating themselves, there are also cases of adults impregnating young girls. And so we are looking at how responsive is the community in terms of empowering, helping the children, but much more so helping the family to be in the forefront of addressing these issues. I think for a long time we have relegated the responsibility of talking about sexuality to the teachers, to the health workers, and to people from NGOs. And the parents of them, have taken somewhat of a reserved position. And the period when we've had the first round of COVID actually showed that when the schools closed, the numbers of early and unintended pregnancies rose. But this is the time when the children were in the parents' family, in the parents' houses. What went wrong? It may be that the parents are not engaging these children as well as the teachers are. They're not engaging these children as much as NGOs, CBOs are doing. And so we want to take that, the skill back to the parents.
We take another set of commercials. Do stay with us as we still have international and sports news. Don't go away.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Well, Amwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing.
Don't tell me.
Yes!
I already know the secrets.
Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
I'm Ambassador Frank BRAZZAVILLE. My 50 years journey in the media has now taken me to Camnet television. I'm very excited to join this amazing inner family. The importance of governance issues cannot be overemphasized. Every Tuesday at 20:45, I'll be going under the skin of a governance issue with my guest. I'll be interrogating the guest so that you can make an informed decision. I'll be coming on every Tuesday at 20:45 with Frank on Camnet.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, voters in the Republic of Congo will head to the polls on Sunday to elect a president in a vote boycotted by the country's leading opposition party. The Catholic Church has raised questions about the fairness of the vote after the government rejected its request to deploy more than 1,000 election observers. President Denis NGUESSO, who has governed the oil-producing country of 5 million people for 36 years, is seeking a new 5-year mandate.
Not many people openly criticise the electoral process in the Republic of Congo. The Catholic Church is one of the few institutions that has. Father Felicien Mavungu has been arrested twice because of his activism. He was meant to be part of a team observing Sunday's presidential election, but he told us all church observers have been blocked from monitoring the polls.
Sur le papier, c'est une démocratie.
On paper, it is a democracy since 1991, but in reality, with such behaviours, we need to question ourselves if we really are in a democracy.
President Denis Sassou Nguesso has ruled for most of the last 40 years, and he's campaigned to stay on. There are many campaign posters for Sassou Nguesso in Brazzaville. A big one over there, another one here, another one there. There are far fewer for the opposition candidates, like this one. And whenever we try and interview people on camera out on the streets, they're scared to talk, especially if it's anything to do with politics or the election. Across the Congo River from Brazzaville is Kinshasa, the capital of the neighbouring Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Catholic Church also played a role in campaigning for elections to be held 3 years ago. Many of the protests were violently put down. Reverend Bosela Eyali was involved in that campaign. We met him training church leaders on elections in Brazzaville before they were banned from observing.
You have to raise voice. If the human dignity is ignored, the church have to raise voice.
Everything on the Brazzaville side of the river is much more tightly controlled. Soldiers already voted ahead of Sunday's election. Activists say their polls were not transparent. But the president of the Electoral Commission, who's also the Chief Justice, insisted the Republic of Congo is a democracy.
Absolument.
Absolutely. If not, you would not be here interviewing President of the Electoral Commission. If not, there would be verbal criticisms made against the President of the Electoral Commission.
Felicien says he's monitored elections for more than 10 years before being blocked. And the churches were some of the only election observers here that anyone thought might be critical of irregularities in Sunday's poll. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Brazzaville, Republic of Congo.
We now get into sports news. And in sports news, Chipolo Polo Boys coach MICHO has romped in Frenchman as a physical trainer ahead of this week's mouth-watering back-to-back Cameroon 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Algeria and Zimbabwe. The Zamfoot crew can exclusively reveal. The unknown Frenchman arrived in the country 8 days ago and straight away was in the thick of things as he watched the APSA Cup quarter-finals at Woodland Stadium in Lusaka Lusaka with MICHO. The Chipolo Polo boys technical bench is headed by MICHO with Oswald Mutapa Jr. as his assistant coach, while Stefan Mwanza has returned as goalkeeping coach. MICHO's two Serbian compatriots have returned to Europe for family reasons. The Frenchman linked up with the Chipolo Polo boys at Telka Hotel, where the team has set base. Zambia is bottom of Group H with 3 points, 2 behind second place Zimbabwe, while Botswana and leaders are on 4th and 10th points respectively. The story is courtesy of Zamfoot Sports. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. LUANSHYA residents complain of poor roads in the CBD. CHISHIMBA KAMBWILI says all political decisions he makes are well calculated. RPP President Leslie CHIKUSE to sue state over wrongful 16 days detention. In international news, Congo Brazzaville votes as NGUESSO seeks to extend his 37-year reign. In sports news, MICHO drafts in a French physical trainer. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Thessalonians 5:17-18, and it reads, "Pray constantly, give thanks in everything, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.